I am Captain Logan, and this is day 238 of Spawn Year. Not only have I wasted so much of my power, a lot of it on accident, but now I've contaminated my system with Diet Mountain Dew. I might have thought diet a weak but suitable replacement, or if somehow sugar is the prime ingredient in maintaining my energy levels even over caffeine, it would simply be redundant. Nope. It feels like pouring water in a gas tank, like I'm stalling out. I didn't drink much, so hopefully my circulation will sort it all out. Maybe that unwanted fluid is coming out on the page as I write. Suffice it to say, I have no pure Mountain Dew to revitalize myself, and I'm close to fumes. I guess it serves me right for trusting anyone built into this insane anti-reality, much less a crazed, bloodshot-eyed cartoon character. But as I've observed before, Spawn Year works on the damned if you do, damned if you don't system. I would feel just as duped had I refused Freakadoo's offer and later learned there really was a whole forest where real, honest-to-God Mountain Dew really does grow on trees. And sure, I could have kept his scythe forever and dictated the terms myself, but then I'd have to put up with that unsettling and irritating psycho me until I caved, risking losing more comics before review in the process. My only consolation is that the conclusion of this arc was reasonably satisfying, and that took my mind off my own problems for a whole 15 minutes. I've given Brian Holguin quite a bit of grief lately about the nonsensical and unengaging way he's been writing the main title, but 8 issues into a book he's plotting alone, I'm convinced Al Simmons would be more sympathetic and have real, natural, ongoing character growth if only Holguin had developed him on his own. This issue, in a way, is the culmination of all the ideas McFarlane beat around the bush about forever in his issues. Holguin takes that idea of the militant, corrupt heaven that's no better than hell and lets his characters react to that like real people might. Immaculata, it turns out, can sort of morph and unmorph in and out of angel mode, which is why she's naked at the end of last issue. She's conflicted, trying to decide if she even believes in heaven's rhetoric anymore. I'm fuzzy on whether she's a possessing spirit or a new personality created by the merging of both women, and that's especially confusing when we learn how bad Cagliostro wants her dead. But I was over the moon to finally hear an angel discuss how much good the servants of heaven could be doing, and how they all exist for what their enemy wants, the decimation of its rivals. I do not comfort the lost and the wayward through the long dark night of the soul. I exist for one reason: to kill. I know I am not worthy of the title angel because I have stood by those who are. She's referring to the nuns Immaculata lived with, who not only lived pious, quiet lives of meditation and prayer, but spent their time helping the hopeless and destitute. Spawn comics are always reminding us, as if they came up with it in the first place, about all those shades of gray, but this one reminds us of people's random acts of kindness, that through all the hate and destruction and self-serving carnage, as long as there are a few people setting a good example, giving freely of themselves to comfort others, there's hope for the rest of us. Al Simmons is always so busy being tortured and not coming to grips with nightmarish realities that through his eyes there is only evil and moral ambiguity. Just because this reality's version of heaven has chosen to turn its back on good in favor of manipulating people to get what it wants because that's easier than upholding nobler principles, doesn't mean there's no good left in the world. But Immaculata gets a sign from heaven to continue the hunt. A hawk hunting a mouse, we couldn't think of a less blatant cliche, and somewhat understandably she says, "Who am I to question the schemes of heaven?" She and Covenant have paralleling character arcs, each about forging their own destinies and doing the right thing, rather than the commanded thing. Cog tells Spawn about the angel coming to hunt him, and he welcomes it. He was just a guy who tried to follow the right path, but kept jumping on the wrong bandwagon. He doesn't want to do Hell's bidding, and if he can't protect the weak or find a truly righteous cause, he would rather die. Cog calls him a coward and then ironically rebukes him for not running, because he has his own motives for wanting Spawn around, and now that he's the king of the 8th Circle of Hell in present continuity, we can be pretty sure why. It's really nice Logan is writing both books so he can create those connections and a little cohesion for this world, because it needed it badly. Immaculata confronts Spawn and he's ready to accept death, which of course infuriates the Angel because in order to feel vindicated in her choice to serve heaven, he has to be the vile evil thing she is supposed to hunt, and he's not. In fact, the real vile evil thing is DeBlanc, who she mistook for Spawn last issue, and for good reason. He sets the nearby Abbey ablaze here just to draw Covenant out. If only she had stopped this actual terror earlier. These roles are all manufactured by third parties, and none are what this constructed destiny says they should be. Immaculata isn't a righteous warrior, and Covenant isn't a soulless monster, and now they both have an opportunity to choose a truly heroic path. Ignoring the innocents being slaughtered by DeBlanc, the Angel keeps coming at Spawn, having committed to her duty, and Spawn is outraged. Is this what heaven stands for? We play our silly battles while innocents suffer and die? She realizes he's right. Covenant gives up his quick death, the easy end he prefers to being a monster, and Immaculata gives up her duty in order to save the suffering. So she powers down and poetically saves the baby born of the unmarried couple Spawn's been helping. She doesn't know it, but they were guilty of the same perceived sexual immorality she went to the commune to repent for. All of these people, including Covenant, were inwardly punishing themselves for what was perceived as an unspeakable act, yet Immaculata saves the product of that act, an innocent baby, implying that right and wrong and the sanctity of life is deeper and truer than rules and duties. I like Immaculata's internal monologue toward the end. There comes a time in each of our lives when we must face the fire and decide what we really are. We are not angels and we are not devils. We are mortals and we are free to choose the road we walk. Some of us rise to the challenge and some fall short, but the victory, I think, is in the trying. The fact that heaven works so hard to trick people into thinking what it wants is holy or divine instantly means it probably isn't, and it also means there's probably no such thing as fate here. Hell works that way too. You have to give your soul willingly to be a hellspawn. The big powers that be are just simpletons with too much power. People have the ability to respond to that however they want to, and I love how optimistic this book is. Spawn and the Angel choose compassion and courage over personal desire or blind obedience. What do you know? Actual heroes in a Spawn comic. I'm not sure why Cog kills Immaculata at the end, but now I think she's supposed to be the angel he apparently killed that he tells Al Simmons about in the main Spawn title, though I'm not sure if that's the case how he ever got her lance. I'm pretty sure though she's not actually Covenant's old flame, despite the similar history, because he helps her with the baby when she's out of angel morph and seems to get a good look at her face. Now if it turns out she really is Covenant's girlfriend, he's going to have quite the confrontation with Cog if he ever finds out what happened. This would have been a great finale for this series, and I hope Logan has more to say with it moving forward. Good stuff. Signed, Captain Logan.